There's a lot of talk in the United States in certain circles about the rise of fascism. That is to say, the open, naked, terroristic dictatorship of the most reactionary elements in this society. And which is very curious because there's a separate discourse talking about these alleged democratic principles that are trans-historical in the United States. And those two arguments don't seem to coincide. On the one hand, these trans-historical principles of liberty and democracy articulated by the founding fathers. On the other hand, a looming fascism. And I think I would pay more attention to the latter than the former. Usually the theory of fascism is that it's enacted and implanted as a reaction to try to squash mass movements. For example, in Chile in 1973, with the rise of Salvador Allende, the socialists. With regard to Africa, South Africa, and fascism pre-1994, because of the strength of unions, and in particular, not to mention Europe. And so people were saying, well, how can you talk about fascism in the United States? With all due respect to our mass movements, it's not as if they were presenting a threat to the established order. Many of them were willing actually to buy into the established order. So how do you reconcile that anomaly? And I think the way to reconcile it is that I do think the elections of 2008 and 2012 were intimidating to some. I think that they misinterpreted that as the rise of the blacks. And of course, we had been contesting for control of North America with Native American allies and oftentimes foreign allies for hundreds of years. And seemingly in 2008 and 2012, that had reached a success. And I think that's a misreading of history. But to me, that's the only explanation, it seems to me, for all of this talk, legitimate talk. It's not puffery about the rise of fascism in the United States in the 21st century as a reaction to domestic developments and also a reaction to global developments. That is to say, the fact that China's in the passing lane and therefore there has to be more repression to get more out of our hide in order to compete. Now, that's a kind of new situation because, as noted, the post-1954, you had the rise of the U.S. economy, and so therefore there was much more of ability to buy off certain sectors. If you're talking about 2018 going forward, that ability to buy off certain sectors might not be as prominent or as prevalent, which therefore leads to this fascism option.